Oh, and we're on. We're on air live here. We're doing another recording with Mr. Matthew Romain, who's agreed to come back and answer some of the questions that you had proposed for him. So thank you once again, Mr. Romain. Everybody loved your show and your time that you spent with us 2 weeks ago, I guess it was today.
Yeah.
Exactly today. This time 2 weeks ago, we were watching you perform. So welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with question number one was, how old were you when you started doing puppet shows?
I was in high school. I was about 15 years old. My English teacher asked me to meet a friend of hers who was a German puppeteer who had a Punch and Judy show. And for you kids who don't know what Punch and Judy is, those are characters, Punch and Judy, a husband and wife. The man's named Punch, the wife is named Judy, and they always hit each other. They were wooden puppets. These puppets go back hundreds of years. And the stories have been told again and again. And he's a terrible man with a long pointed nose and a long pointed hat. And he feeds his wife to the alligator. And he throws his wife out, his baby out the window. And then the police try and catch him. And he hangs the hangman. And he kills the policeman. So it's a great old story. And my English teacher needed somebody to work those puppets for this German puppeteer. And I was chosen. And
you were the chosen one.
I was the chosen one. So I became Punch in this show, and I just had a blast making these voices and smacking other puppets around.
And that's where it started. And then the next question is actually, how old were you when you started doing this professionally?
Well, again, in high school, my girlfriend and I made a bunch of puppets that we were going to sell at an event, a little fair in somebody's backyard to raise money for charity. But I liked the puppets so much that we made that I said, let's not sell them. Let's make a little show. So we built a little colorful theater and wrote a silly story about, one of the puppets that ate Windsor and went on a rampage and grew bigger and bigger. And it was just a silly story, but people really liked it. And I started calling, saying, "Could you come and do that show at our church? Can you come and do that show, at our university class or different things?" And they offered to pay us. So we said, "Hey, this could be a living," and everything went from there.
You became a professional just like that. It just happened. That's very cool. It was meant to be, for sure.
We ended up being pretty good at it. So, and adding music in was a really nice element.
Yeah. Have you always been musical?
Yes.
When did you start music lessons? Did you?
Oh, I've never taken a music lesson. My family was musical, so I just got it. When I was 12, my brother handed me a guitar, said, "Here's my old guitar, learn to play it," and it started from there. Wow. Music is so great. You got to play music, kids.
Yeah,
music is
definitely. Okay, the next one is, what was the first puppet you ever made? Do you remember what the very first puppet?
I do. Again, this is all back in high school, just messing around with socks. I made a sock puppet. It was a red sock, and I gave it a felt yellow beak and a little red comb on top and goofy eyes, and I called it Chucky the Chicken. I had so much fun with this darn sock, just putting this and making it eat its own beak and then barf it back out again. And I just fell in love with puppets all over again. I never know what happened to Chucky. I think some dog ate it.
Wow. Okay, so it's just gone. But now the next
one, put a sock on your hand and have some fun with it.
Yes, yeah, and quite a few of the students have done that. The very thing. They've been sewing hair on and eyes and or gluing it on and just having a lot of fun.
That's great.
Okay, the next question is, approximately how many puppets have you made in total? Would it be possible to calculate that?
Yes, I actually counted, just recently. I wrote the number down here, 2,794 puppets to date.
Wow.
2,794. There's sock puppets and glove puppets and tube puppets and rod puppets, mouth puppets, finger puppets, shadow puppets, string puppets, all kinds of, there's so many different kinds, too many to keep. And every time I moved, I had to leave some behind. So there are just there are thousands of puppets, well, hundreds anyway, in different locations that when you move, you can't take all those puppets with you. and you say, which ones? I'm never going to use these ones again. So you start giving them away to people or donating them to schools and classrooms or libraries. Some go to museum if they're good enough. And so I've only got around 200 right now.
From 2000, what was the actual number? 2000?
Well, going near 3,000. And then, of course, that doesn't even count all the puppets that I help kids make. Because I go from classroom to classroom to classroom. We make, every class, 25, 30 puppets we're making in those classrooms of a lot of sock puppets, mouth puppets, finger puppets, shadow puppets like crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there are thousands and thousands of puppets that I've made. Tiny and huge.
What's the most complicated puppet you've ever made?
See, now here's the thing. You first got to find out what the puppet's got to do, and then you invent ways to make it do that. So I've got puppets that blink here. I'll put some on the side for you here. So if you want, here's this little guy. If you want a puppet that's going to blink, you have to build in a mechanism to do that. So in this little fella, I didn't want anybody to know he even had eyes until later. So he was just this little alien fellow. Hey there, actually, how you doing? And then he looks at the audience. You will have seen something like this on the Muppets. They often will use the same kind of device. And then another one. So my finger is inside here, just going down and up and down and up, opening. It's basically another mouth with eyes inside. And then there's a mouth below it where my thumb opens that one.
Very cool. Yeah, and complicated to operate that. Must take you time to learn how to do that. Yeah,
it's a little bit of practice. What's that? Never mind about that, actually. Yeah, go back to sleep. There you are.
Okay, do you have, so you said in your presentation 2 weeks ago that your favorite puppet was Tiny.
Well, hang on a sec. Let me talk about the complications of making puppets. Tiny is a very complicated little puppet. It's full of springs and magnets, and it's nicely balanced. And if you want something to move really well, those are good devices: magnets, springs, string, tubes inside. So I've got something else to show you. This is neat. A puppet that's dancing. Where did I put him? Oh, here he is now. Me donkey, he has 2 ears so tall, but he doesn't listen when I call. So here's Tingaleo's bouncy, bouncy ears and bouncy, bouncy arms and bouncy, bouncy legs. He's even got a tail that wiggles.
I guess that's
now, can you see all this? Am I still in the screen?
Yep, you're good.
All right. Now take a look at the eyes. Now, I wanted the eyes even to be able to bounce around when he laughs. Just do this goofy kind of thing. And Snoopy in the comic strips, when he looks sideways, both of his eyes are still there. So I wanted that kind of thing too. His eyes are just like these golf balls on strings that move around. I love that feature about it. This puppet is made to do all kinds of things. He does this, finger snapping, oh yeah, and dancing like crazy. He can play a guitar. Let's give him a guitar. You want to sit there, Tingaleo. You take that guitar. Here we are. Let's see if we can strum the guitar like that. See, we go. So this puppet has lots to do. So it was a pretty complicated puppet. I think it's a good example. Do you know this one can actually even chew bubble gum? There you go. Can you actually even see that he's got bubble gum in his mouth?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit? Yeah. How about if you do the bubble? Oh, that's good, hey? But don't, that's big enough, Tingaleo. Tell him to stop, easy. He's showing off for you. Don't do that, Tingaleo. All right, that's big enough. Put it away, Tingaleo. Put it away. No, that's too... You better plug your ears, kids. I think it's gonna blow. Tingaleo, that's big enough. That's enough. That's enough. Put it back in your... Oh my gosh. This could go on for some time, depending on the size of the prop you use. Plug your ears.
Wow.
You all right? He'll be all right.
Okay, that's going to be the most complicated puppet you've ever made, and I'm sure one of the favorites. Just awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Very cool. Well, now that kind of answers the next question, which was, do you have any puppets that eat food? And if yet, what's its favorite food? I'm guessing bubblegum could count as food.
Well,
put it in your mouth and chew it.
You know, hang on. Food, first you have to make the puppet food. So you make stuff, you get foam and you start carving it. You know, this is just foam. Then you take your scissors and your paint and you make some cheese, you know, like that. Then you can take apart and eat. And if it's food that's squishy, it can fit inside their mouths and look like they're eating it. I put a feast together here to show you. Some cheese. Got some nice fish. Got your turkey there. What else? Oh, yeah, sausages. And so here's the troll that comes along and finds this feast. And, you know, he's got his own built-in stuff there. He can sniff. I smell food. Yeah. So when it's going to eat food, it can, basically, it can just, you know, cheat by going like that and then throwing away the extra. You know, take a piece like this, because it's squishy, it looks like he's eating it. And you just kind of palm it the same way. Now, oop, I just ate it, but of course you didn't eat it. I just squished it in my hand. So there's a little bit of magician's sleight of hand going on there. Now, so for some other puppets, if you want them to swallow the food, that's something different. So here's his partner, the other troll. I'll put him on here. There we are. He's also got a nose that's sniffing things. And he's smelling the food. And this one, you'll notice that I've put like a slit in the back of the throat there. See? Can't really tell, but because shadow hides it. But if you want him to eat something, he can just go ahead and eat. And if you stuff it in there, it ends up.
He actually gets it in his belly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'll just bring it out the back of the head, you know, like this, where my hand goes in there. So he can, like so. Same thing with a fish. Anything that can slide through there, you're good to go. He didn't like that one. Yeah. And then there's some fun, tricky things you can do like this.
Wow. Okay, this is like the last question I have. I'm going to skip to that because how many hours of practicing does it take to get ready for a new show or just to learn like how to operate? So you make this puppet, and then how long does it take you to learn how to operate it to be able to do that smoothly?
Well, there's a lot to being a puppeteer. There's everything from learning to move the thing convincingly to try not to move your mouth when you're saying the words. I'm talking to you, and you're not moving your mouth. That's right. See, try not to move your mouth while you're speaking. And they're actually pretty heavy, too, so you got to be strong. You got to do your push-ups and stay strong for this. You can't be wimpy and be puppeteer. You have to be big, strong. Big, strong like you. Big, strong like me. Big, strong like him. Yeah. So it does take a while. You got to think of how to make it. You got to make it. Then you got to learn to use it. You got to learn the words, the music. And since I make a lot of mistakes, it does take a long time. But I don't want to discourage you from doing that. You go ahead and make your skits. They don't have to be fancy like mine. Just have fun. Do your skits. It doesn't have to take a long time. Just my stuff. I figure if people are going to pay me money, I better put in the time.
True. Yeah. Yeah. You want to have a good show.
Yeah. Now, you had asked me before about my favorite puppet being tiny. And, you know, I have lots of favorites. I mean, you would ask a father to say which is your favorite child. That's not a fair question, but I do. I do have some favorites, and this is one has become favorite because I bring them out to so many classrooms. This is Wyerton Willie, the albino groundhog. Hi, Willie. Good to see you.
Where am I?
What do you mean?
I've been stuck in that bag so long, I don't know where I am.
And he does that same thing with his tail, like Bingo the dog.
Right.
Last time I showed you.
So you're actually operating that with your other hand, I guess.
Is that live? Who is that? There's a voice. Who's saying that?
That's Sue.
Is it God?
No, it's not.
Is it my conscience?
Yes, it's your conscience.
That's
My
right.
conscience.
Oh boy.
Hey, do you like baseball?
Sure, they like baseball.
Let me throw you a ball. 1, 2, 3.
Don't throw the ball.
Why not?
You know why not?
Why?
Why don't you throw the ball inside?
Because he glued it to my hand.
You gotta glue it to your hand. That's right.
Ah!
All right. That's wired in Willie. He just lives inside a bag. He's very nice to, carry around, just take out and brush him.
That feels good.
Yeah.
I want to look handsome for the camera.
Yes, you do.
Am I handsome yet?
Yes, you look very nice.
Ow! You watch it.
I'm sorry. There you are. You feel better?
Not really.
All right. You gonna go back in?
Yeah.
Okay. Say goodbye, Willie.
Goodbye, Willie.
Here we go.
Bye, Willie. Oh, thank you for showing me that. That is such a cute puppet. That's amazing. I love how you animate it and bring it to life. It's like it's really a separate. It's not you doing it. It's the puppet. Thank you so much for all your time. The last question is, what are the most common tools and materials you use to make puppets? And also just any other parting words of advice to the budding puppeteers at Kensington.
I'll tell you, you know me, like everything is a puppet. And I got a pencil case that becomes a puppet. You take, like this, you just unzip it there, and that could be a mouth. There you got some nice things to put on there. Let's see if we can make this pencil case talk. You're going to do it? Well, put a pom-pom on it, and maybe an eye over here, another eye over there. And yes, now I am a puppet. Look at me. They kind of look like teeth. So you can turn anything into a puppet. Gloves are very, very handy for making into puppets. This is just a regular glove, and you can turn it into a spider. Like so. Just, that's the legs. Or that can be, that could be the hair on another puppet.
I was bald, but now I have hair.
You see? So gloves are very handy. Mittens, same thing. Take a mitten like that and turn it into a talking something. Here, we put a face on the end here. Right, maybe put it sideways like that. Yeah, now I'm talking. Mittens are fun. I'm a mitten. Yeah.
Do you see the world as puppet opportunities? Like when you're out walking in the neighborhood or anywhere, and you see something, do you just think in puppets a lot of the time?
Always. You should see me in a hardware store. Pick up everything, turn it into a puppet. Check this out. Here's another glove, some eyes, put it in there. Now it can be a puppet. Let's see. What can we do with this puppet here? We will, give it a body. Here's a glove. And we put it in here. There we are. Now he's got a body. Right. There we are. Okay. Now and we could just keep adding to it. We give him a top lip here. That's a piece of a sock. Just stick it on top there. Bottom lip. Here, we'll give it over there. Starting to come together. Remember, this is all a glove, and we're just dressing up a glove, give him some hair. Yeah. Now I am no longer an ordinary glove. I am a piece of art. You're a piece of art. That's right. See? You can just dress a glove up. Let's take it apart now. There it is. There it is. Yeah. We're back to being a glove.
Wow, just an ordinary glove. You could turn them into so much more.
That's right.
Amazing.
But I gotta say, for tools for making puppets, kids, stick to socks. They can be great. You can do so much with socks. Here, let me. I went and got this up in my other collection upstairs. Here, this is two socks. You'll recognize that there's a sock there making the mouth work. We have, this is just a little girl who's a pirate. Some paper on here for a hat. Ahoy! That's right. Give her a little sword. Can you see me all right?
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
And even the shirt is made out of another sock. You can recognize this is where your foot would go in here, the edge of the sock. I just cut it off here and use the extra fabric to make sleeves, glue them on. Anything can be a puppet. Socks can be really great puppets.
That's amazing. Just such creativity. Thank you so much, Matthew, Mr. Romain, for sharing with us again. A great appreciation for your time and just sharing your wisdom and creativity. Such a pleasure. Yeah.
You bet. Well, keep on making puppets and make those puppet skits. I can't wait to see what you're doing.
Well, I will definitely share with you. We're working on one right now, a skit for the virtual talent show that we're doing, and submissions have to be in next week. So there are puppets involved in our skit. So I'll definitely let you share that with you when it's ready.
That's great. Don't forget to put some kind of music in there, even if it's just background music or sound effects, but it really adds a lot having music involved.
That's a good suggestion. I'm going to have to learn some more computer skills to be able to layer music into it, but very good suggestion. There you go. Well, thank you again for your time, and I'm just going to log off here. If I can figure it out. Thanks again, Matthew. Take care.
Bye, Miss Ingles.
Bye.